After graduating from law school, I knew I wanted to have my own business. I thought of it mostly as a second revenue stream and a long-term investment, while I continue my legal career. After a couple of years of lawyering, many of my clients convinced me to go into business, with some of them offering to invest. In 2006, my partner and I incorporated and started a business in livestock. Our main focus was importing live cattle from Australia to Indonesia and applying a proprietary fattening program invented by my partners. The projections were amazing and the investment was minimum because we would lease parts of existing farms instead of acquiring land. However, for it to work, we would still need a line of credit from the bank. Despite having some credible names on the board, the banks did not think much of a couple of 28-year-olds with zero experience in cattle trading. We pitched to at least 20 banks. We even pitched to investors on a profit share basis but realized we would be giving too much away. In the end, my future father-in-law, who is a serial entrepreneur, would end up guaranteeing us to the bank. He also took up a major share in the company, but it would not have worked without him anyway. Over time, the business needed more attention and I would leave my legal career but continue my involvement to bringing business to the firm instead of handling cases. After leaving the firm, the loss of an income immediately hurt, plus anytime the business was short, the directors' salaries were first to be withheld. I also lost a decent credit rating. Whenever business could not cover its immediate liabilities, my partners and I would use our own credit cards to cover whatever expenses we had to. Being an entrepreneur also means you've lost a career path. I recall wanting to become a partner of a major firm, but the time gap on my CV would make that very difficult to get back on a path. Having your own business is barely a career, let alone a career path. You work for yourself and your employees. Advancing some made-up ladder is irrelevant. I lost sleep, money, friends, and all that other stuff, but you can easily lose that in any profession. I also lost my first luxury car to repossession but got a pickup truck after. I'd make that trade any day. Over time, I became a person obsessed with shortcuts and money, and that was the biggest change. I became regularly impatient and ignored whatever process there was. To me, it was always about getting to the bottom line. I suppose I spent too much time balancing the bank and payroll and was always forced to act fast. There is barely room for patience. Sometimes I would call friends and family and beg them to bridge funds when I couldn't do it on my own. When dealing with banks, customers, or suppliers, I was always irritated. My wife told me the worst part of this entire process was becoming a person who could not chill. After we sold the company a few years later, and through experience in my other business, I was finally able to chill. In addition to the above, you lose touch with friends and what it is to have fun. Everything other than my inner circle seemed to be a waste of time. The clothes that I wore and the food I ate at work were meaningless. I was just too focused on seeing how much operating profit we turned at the end of the month. When I see entrepreneurs on social media showing off, I don't get it. I know for a fact I couldn't care less about what people thought I was doing, especially trying to garner likes. I gained so much more than I lost and learned so much than I could imagine. However, if we're able to go back and redo it all over again, I would take a different approach. I would let finance people do their thing just as I let operations do theirs. Today I am more comfortable with a less hands-on approach. I advise, set targets, and coach. This has allowed me to enjoy life better. Absolutely nothing. Thank heavens for entrepreneurship. I and my husband are native, called First Nations here in Canada, in a western, rural area. Due to some physical problems, my husband can no longer do labor jobs, and because he escaped from residential school at the age of 12, he wasn't educated. We thought he could get driving jobs such as water delivery to farms, but after being turned down a number of times from different driving jobs, one of the owners came clean and told us he couldn't hire him because farmers won't abide a native on their land. He let us know that to hire my husband would hurt his business. That's okay, that's the reality businesses have to deal with in farming areas. We have no wish to hurt the business of someone just trying to provide for his family. We hold no grudges, we just hope things will be better for our children, and we know it will. All in all, Canadians are pretty good people. Our business provides for us, and our children, and we are proud of our product. My husband became a fisherman on the Great Slave Lake in the Northwest Territories, at the age of 12, for about 30 years before his heart finally protested, developing an arrhythmia, putting an end to that career. Now we sell pickerel, walleye, lake trout, northern pike, and whitefish at farmers markets. We had fish stores before, but have found farmers markets to be more successful. Thousands and thousands of customers go through many of the markets, with the intention to buy local, quality food. You can't beat Canada's lakes for the best freshwater fish in the world. Half of all the freshwater lakes in the world are in Canada, after all. We named our company after our daughter, because while we were still fishing, we put our little baby girl in a fish box, and she would rock to sleep while we pulled the nets. Of course, we made sure she was perfectly safe. I won't mention the name of the company, as this isn't a plug. We are quite thankful for farmers markets, as it provides an unconventional way for those of us who need it, to make money. Entrepreneurship provides for us surprisingly well, thank you. Many of us wouldn't have it any other way. Fear of new challenges. Instead, I enjoy them and continue to look for new ones. Fear of failure. I am constantly trying new things and failing. But the successes outweigh the failures, and I learn from the failures. So both outcomes help my business and personal growth. Fear of being fired. If one customer fires me, my business won't fail. And if they do fire us, it is probably for the best. And being fired from a past job is what led me to become an entrepreneur. Fear of having to fire somebody. My business coach once said, firing somebody could be the best favor you can do for them, as it could lead them to find their perfect fit elsewhere. The need to work long hours. I know this sounds contradictory and is not the norm for most entrepreneurs, but hiring great people to perform the day-to-day tasks and the stuff I prefer not to do frees me up to do what I want to do. Spending time with my family is more important to me than working an extra 40 hours a week to make more money. The need to conform to company culture. Instead, I can set my own culture and lead by example and put my people ahead of profit. Limits. I can take my business in whatever direction I want without having to justify every decision or spend to another party. But I still have a great team to bounce ideas off of. But the risk is mine to take even if they don't agree. I wouldn't have grown the business so much if I didn't take risks that others may not be willing to take.